Have you worked with leaders who just didn't seem to get it? They might have had the skills to do coding or to do marketing, but they didn't connect with your team. When you brought up a problem to them, they didn't seem to be listening and they just didn't connect with people. It demotivated the whole team. Well, as a leader, I know you don't want to be that kind of leader. So that's why soft skills are crucial. Luckily, in today's video, we're going to talk about 8 soft skills that are going to help you succeed as a leader. Hi, my name is Andrew Beard from beardexecutiveconsulting.com, and I build better businesses through building leaders. Let's dive into our 8 tips today. Before tip number 1, I want to talk about what's the difference between hard skills and soft skills. We've all heard about that, but what really is the difference? When we talk about hard skills, we're talking about doing the actual job. So it might be learning how to build a marketing plan, it might be understanding how to code a database or build an Excel spreadsheet, but something that has to do with the actual skill involved. When we think soft skills, on the other hand, we're talking about how do we interact with people? How do we make sure that the ideas we have come across in the right way to the people we're working with? And when they bring a problem to us, we're responding in a way that feels good and motivating to them. So let's dive in with important soft skills. The first soft skill to talk about is the importance of emotional intelligence. You likely have heard about this a number of times, maybe read articles or seen videos. It's so important in today's workplace that leaders show effective emotional intelligence. What we mean by this is the ability to understand and perceive what's going on with their team around them. Is someone having a really stressful day because they didn't sleep well last night or because their mother-in-law is in the hospital? Are you in tune with how people are feeling, or do you just focus on the business over everything else? The importance of this is how you build trust with your team. With low emotional intelligence, people aren't going to trust that you care about them and that you only care about work. They're not going to bring problems to you, and it won't build trust with your team. So how do you show emotional intelligence? What's going to be important to listen to your team, to understand when they're coming to you with a problem that's business versus a problem that's personal, and to keep in mind what's going on in their lives. Have they shared with you something confidentially that you need to remember over time as you're giving them different assignments? Do you need to check in more often, even if that's not normal for you? And on the other side of emotional intelligence, some leaders are so overly empathetic and intuitive that they're connecting with their direct reports, but they're letting too much slide. So true emotional intelligence is being able to strike that balance between caring enough about the person that it's not just business, and also caring enough about the business that we don't get drowned in these more challenging people problems that come up. The second soft skill I want to talk about is the importance of active listening. What did you say? What was that? You may have heard this before, where you're talking to a leader and they're sending an email or they're on their phone and they don't even know what's going on with you. Active listening helps the speaker feel completely heard and some engagement from their boss. So how do you do this? Well, first of all, get rid of all the distractions. In our days of technology now, it's so easy to have little dings and pings come up when the person in front of you just wants to talk to you directly. This might happen in person when you're in the office with them. It might also happen through the computer. I know that I've been guilty before of having the email open, and when I hear a little ding for the email, checking it, even if I'm in a Zoom meeting. So it's so important, especially when you're meeting with someone one-on-one, to get rid of all of those distractions. And the second piece of active listening is to really make sure that you're listening to understand and not just respond. So the best leaders do this by reflecting back what they've heard. Someone has just told you something, say, can I just make sure that I understood what you said? Here's what I hear you say. Is that correct? And you're really checking with them to make sure that what they said is what you have actually heard. And then you're moving forward, asking questions that are insightful about it, and then finally acting upon the information that they shared with you. So by practicing this kind of active listening, you're going to make sure that direct reports and colleagues feel that you're there and that you're connected with them. The third soft skill I want to talk about is empathy. When we practice empathy, we're showing the people around us that they matter, not just their production, but them as people. It's easy to think about agile workspaces as getting rid of extra fluff and making sure that we get all the business processes completed. We can even think back to the Ford Motor Company as they got their assembly line and production set up, that it was really important to be effective and efficient. Now, all of that is great, but without empathy, we're going to miss some things that are going to keep people engaged and motivated. We want to be empathetic to what's going on in their lives to show people that they're more important than just getting the job done. But as a person, they're important to the work we're doing. So, how do you show some empathy with your team? Make sure that you're listening to them. Make sure that you pause and ask questions. Maybe check if someone is struggling instead of just getting to the business end of things and tell them, well, don't do that, do this. Ask them, is anything else going on? Be open for their answers and be ready to adjust your leadership accordingly. The fourth soft skill concept I want to talk about is conflict management. Now, this may seem like something that's basic, and when two adults are getting in an argument, we just say, hey, figure it out. But that's not what your team is looking for. Put yourself in the place of a parent, for instance. The best parents don't have two kids who are fighting and just tell them to knock it off. Instead, we ask, well, what's the problem? Can you tell me what the issue was? And we help them figure out how to get through that moment. The same thing exists in business. When two people are struggling with one another, don't just say, well, figure it out. I don't want to deal with it. Instead, help them manage the conflict. In my work with clients, I can say so often that issues that come up between two people on a team really comes down to a lack of clarity and communication. As a leader, you can ask them if they need anything clarified from you. And then you can also ask for both of their perspectives. Sometimes to manage a conflict, you need to ask them separately before you bring them together to work through it. But at the end of the day, as a leader, it's your job to make sure the team is functioning, and strong conflict management skills are so important. Now, the fifth soft skill is self-awareness. There's some leaders that would say, I'm bossy and you're just going to have to deal with it. Well, that's not great self-awareness. If you know you're bossy, then work on that. Try to find a different way to approach problems. The best leaders might share something like that and say, well, sometimes I can be a little over-assertive. If I do that, please feel free to call me out or push back. And then the important thing is if someone does that, say, thank you so much for letting me know. I'm going to work on that, and I apologize that I went too far this time. Also, when leaders are self-aware, they're willing to take in feedback and understand when they're pushing too far, when they're not pushing hard enough, and how to connect with different people on their team. Teams aren't monocultures. You're going to have people on the team who really want to chat and have a strong personal relationship as well as professional. There's going to be other people that just want to do their job, go home, and not worry about that. Being aware as a leader is understanding when do you push, when do you pull, and how do you connect with everyone on the team. The sixth soft skill that's so important in today's work environment is delegation. I've seen so many leaders do this well, and so many leaders struggle. Oftentimes, when leaders struggle with delegation, it's for one of two reasons. Either they're a perfectionist, and every single thing that gets done has to be done perfect. And so even when they delegate, they continue to micromanage and struggle letting go because of their high expectations. To solve this challenge, leaders can be clear about the kind of quality, quantity, and timeliness they want to see from the direct report, and then they can walk away and quit hovering over the project. Now, the second issue I see with delegation is not just about micromanaging and being perfectionist, but is not delegating enough. It's a leader who thinks that they're doing their team a favor by taking it all on their own shoulders. They do this thinking it's an empathetic response, but really it's taking away opportunities for their team to grow. The best leaders strike a great balance of sharing some of their responsibility and taking some off their team's shoulders. Now, how do you counteract this if you're doing too much? Well, ask your team. If you're open and ask your team if they would like another opportunity or would like to take on a new project and they say yes, well, hand something off. That is going to lighten your load and allow you to be a better mentor and coach for that team member, and it's going to help that team member to grow and flourish. The seventh soft skill that's important is thinking about the way that you use influence. The old cliche of leadership is a leader who tells everyone what to do and is very directive. That just doesn't work in the 21st century. The best leaders are going to lead through influence. How do we build influence? Well, it's through building trust with your team. It's through being really clear in your communication, and it's through asking great questions. When you build trust on your team, you are going to influence them to ask you more questions, to connect with you, and to go above and beyond with work projects. So how do the best leaders build influence? The most important thing is to focus on the purpose of the team. By rallying a team around a common goal and common expectations, team members are going to want to do better. When you've already built some trust through your active listening and EQ skills, they're more likely to be on board anyhow. And by realizing that you're not giving directives all the time, the team realizes they have some opportunities to take on new assignments, to take risks without you coming back and being frustrated. Best leaders use influence instead of power to guide their team. The final soft skill I want to cover today is about stress management. The best leaders understand that they are going to be stressed over time. And the first thing that they do is predict, when is this going to happen? If you're on a finance team that does an internal audit during the fourth quarter each year, you're going to know ahead of time that's a stressful time. So in the third quarter, you're setting yourself up, you're putting some things in place, you're making sure no one on your team takes on additional assignments in quarter four. And so you're ready for that. You're already thinking about the stress before it comes. Now, we can't always predict the stress that's going to come. Sometimes things drop in our laps. The best leaders are clear with their team about when stressful times are coming up. They might say, this week you're not going to see me so much because I've got to be heads down on this big project that's due. It's going to be a stressful time. If you need me, send me a note, but just know it's not going to come back right away. In contrast, the leaders who are worst at their own stress management are always flustered and they're letting things overwhelm them. They haven't been good at delegation, and their EQ isn't strong enough to connect with their team, and they always seem stressed. This kind of stress leaches into the rest of the team and really causes a problem. When you are thinking about stress management, you can be proactive to address it and make sure it doesn't become a problem. And then when it's going to happen, let your team know and communicate that. Well, that wraps up the 8 soft skills that are the most important for people who want to be excellent leaders. I wish you luck as you implement these in your own leadership practice. Thanks for watching this video, and make sure to check out the channel for more tips on leadership. If you're looking to level up, I would love to meet with you. Head on over to beardexecutiveconsulting.com where we offer a free consultation. Have a great day.